Doesn't matter.
I'm sure that we don't actually set them up the correct way that you're supposed to anyway. I think you're supposed to have like one in the back and one in the front, meeting each other in the middle.
Yeah, it's all right. One of them's washing my face out, but I don't care. Nobody needs to see my face. Anyways, good morning. It's the Joe Gaither Show. How we doing today in Tuscaloosa, West Alabama, internet world? We'll have a great football Friday. Well, it won't be a football. Well, I guess we can do Army-Navy. Army-Navy, you know, we'll have a little fun with that. And we did talk Heisman Trophy yesterday. We're having a lot of fun on the Bama Central YouTube channel today, on the Bama Central Facebook page. You're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can find the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us, subscribing, rating, reviewing the program. As we get ready for Alabama's first-round playoff game next week, Mason Woods, I had somebody tell me you're being too negative. Told me that everything's going to be okay. It's all that Ty Simpson still is a great quarterback, and everything's okay.
I think that person is a little too optimistic.
Well, it talked about how great of an intermediate passer he was over the course of the season. So we've got a lot to get into today. We can talk about it. We can talk about freshman All-American team. We can talk about all SEC coaches team. We didn't really talk about it all this week. We can talk about a lot of different things. We're going to talk about Alabama's matchup against Arizona in the BJCC tomorrow. Hopefully you guys can make it up to Birmingham. We will have a lot of action on the Bama Central YouTube channel today with, of course, the Joe Gaither Show. We're also going to have head coach Nate Oates is going to join us apparently at 11 o'clock to give us a press conference. We'll see if he's on time. We will see about that. We're supposed to have the football players, our first football availability of the college football playoff season. Today, we're going to have to be talking to select players at 1 o'clock. You can see that on the Bama Central YouTube channel as well. And as we said, we're live right here in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. We're going to miss you, Brax Garrison. We want to make sure we shout him out. Brax said, sorry guys, I've got to go install a roof. So that's the kind of quality that you get with Purple Turtle Roofing. Call Purple Turtle Roofing 877-787-6635. Brack said, no, I can't have a little fun today. I've got real responsibilities. I've got people to take care of, roofs to come check on, roofs to come repair and install. And we were supposed to get together this morning, but he said, sorry guys, something happened. Got to go take care of a roof. And we understand that. And that's what you're going to get. Like, look, you can count on Purple Turtle Roofing. They're going to put you first ahead of fun and ahead of just talking hot air into a microphone. And so I appreciate Brax for doing that. I wish you were here, but you can call him today and you can get him to come check out your roof at 877-787-6635. Very dedicated folks at Purple Turtle Roofing, ready to make sure that you have the peace of mind that you deserve in your home. So we got a lot to get into this morning, or we got a handful of different offshoots to chase, some trails to go down. Mason, how are we doing today? How's your day going?
Doing pretty good. A little cold this morning, which I'm not going to complain about. Yeah, I will always take more and more cold weather. We woke up, got to see a little bit of frost outside. That's a nice sign. But yeah, I'm feeling good. A little bit slow on the recruiting trail as of right now as we kind of get into the Christmas time here, but we'll see what kind of picks up. We're waiting for the next signing period to open back up in April, and maybe Alabama makes some moves then. I did see yesterday that, and I guess, it can be a bit of a correction for a previous statement on this show. The wide receiver that I think Alabama had been rumored to be kind of flirting with a little bit, maybe trying to make a move for, the Michigan State commit, Samson Gash, I think has now been crystallized to West Virginia. So
yes, I saw that.
I think Alabama may be missing out on that guy, but that does not mean that you're not going to go after another wide receiver. I still think there's a pretty good chance they try to go get at least somebody else in this class. So we'll just have to see who that is.
How many wide receivers? We did this on signing day. How many wide receivers is Sedarian Morgan worth?
At least two, because he's going to be double teamed every time he's on the field.
That's right. And so Alabama going to be fine at wide receiver. Hopefully going to be keeping Ryan Williams, maybe going to keep Isaiah Horton, maybe. We'll see about that. We've got Derek Meadows. You've got Lizzie Brooks. You got a lot of young guys. Jalen Mbakwe, are you going in the portal? Hopefully not. So we'll see about that, how that unfolds over the next couple of weeks. Transfer portal opens basically 1st of January.
Super off topic, not even having to do with Alabama, but a cool story nonetheless. Missouri basketball signee, Jason Crow Jr. yesterday set the California all-time scoring record and did it in only 100 games. Like the guy who had done it before him, I think it took him 130 games. and he broke that guy's record last night by 30 points, I believe. So he is now the California all-time scoring record holder, which is just an insane accomplishment because I'm sure anyone knows the amount of basketball talent that's come out of the state of California. So that was pretty cool.
That's wild. That's great. Congratulations, sir. And go MIZ.
Yeah. Missouri, they might be building a monster over there with Dennis Gates.
I think he's a really great coach.
They have a heck of a recruiting class.
This will be the second recruiting class in a row, right?
Yeah, because I think last year they finished top 10, top 15, right in there. And this year, at least as of the last I checked, they were, I think, number one in the country. They got 2 5-stars and a 4-star committed or signed. So
there we go. Dennis, get MIZ.
Yeah, Nate might have some competition here pretty soon.
Well, he's got some competition right now with Vanderbilt. I mean, they're crushing it as well.
Vanderbilt
number 8 in KenPom, third best offense in the country, third best offense, 32nd best defense.
The rumor mill is. Look, I'm not going to say it's very strong one way or the other because some sources have indicated to me that they may not be really trying to make this happen that hard, but I don't know that I believe that all that well. I think Vanderbilt is genuinely making a move to try to land Tyron Stokes, the number 1 overall player in the 2026 class in basketball. And if they could go number 1 overall player in football, number 1 overall player in basketball, which again, I think it's very unlikely. I don't think that they are really that strongly in the race right now. I just know that he is at least considering taking a visit to Vanderbilt. So we will have to see what happens there, but some things are happening. The SEC is changing rapidly before our eyes.
Yeah, go Doors. They're getting involved in all kinds of sports, and obviously they've got Michaela Blakes on the women's side, who is absolutely an absurd player. So we'll see just what they're doing. Number 9 in KenPom.
A lot of really good basketball coaches in the SEC right now.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you want to start with, Mason? Do you want to start with these freshmen, all SEC guys? I've got an offshoot, a topic starting there, and then we can move from there into the entire all SEC class. We're looking at the Alabama selections and maybe looking at a trend that I tweeted last night. We can go into 2026's schedule. We can go into Arizona basketball, Alabama basketball health status. Let's just start with the freshmen, if that's all right with you. Yesterday, you've got Alabama with 4 guys landing on the all SEC all freshman list. You had Lazier Brooks, you had Caleb Edwards, you had Dijon Lee, and you had London Simmons, all land on the freshman all SEC list. And so Alabama with 4 guys on the list. Just first and foremost, thoughts on those 4 guys making all SEC?
I think they're all deserving of it. I think certainly you look at Dijon Lee and London Simmons, and if I had to pick 2 from the list, those are maybe the most 2 impressive to me because of the positions they play. I think Dijon Lee, throwing him out there at cornerback, that's, outside of playing quarterback, that's maybe the hardest position on the field because everything that you do is reacting to what someone else is doing. So,
oh, no, I misspoke. It's not Lazier Brooks. It's Michael Carroll was the other offensive player.
Just as deserving as Lazier Brooks would have been if he had been on there. But yeah, I mean, you look at what Dijon Lee did at the cornerback position this year. He was extremely physical from the moment he stepped on the field, which is something you don't see in a true freshman. He was extremely skilled from the moment he stepped on the field. I know he had the one play against Florida State, but you look after that, he's been pretty great since then. So I'm really, really impressed and encouraged with what we've seen from him this year. And then on the defensive side, London Simmons, to step into that role as a true freshman and play with basically the same level of physicality as, veteran guys on the team, that is wildly impressive. Now, I think he's got a little bit to make up for and maybe the details and things like that, but the physicality is absolutely there, and those are things that you just can't really teach. You either have it or you don't, and he's got it. And then Michael Carroll was good as well. I mean, he didn't really anticipate seeing him this season. I was pretty high on Wilkin Formby going into the year, thinking he could be that right tackle, and then as we get into the year, it was evident he wasn't really going to be the guy that we thought maybe he could be, at least at the tackle position. So you get Michael Carroll out there, and I think he's played pretty admirably this year. He's had his moments of tough, situations and things like that, but he's a true freshman. What do you expect?
Yeah, I think this list is good, and I think they should have had Lazier Brooks on here. Let's compare these guys, these wide receivers, Vernell Brown and Braylon Staley definitely had a better year than better year than Lazier Brooks. But what about Vernell Brown from Florida? What kind of stats did you have? Because I don't think I watched much Florida football hardly at all this year. Because why would you?
I'll be honest. I don't know that I've watched a single full game of Florida this year.
Is this correct? Because I've got him as not a freshman on one of these lists. Okay, there it is. Freshman, yeah. Okay, 40 receptions, 512 yards, no touchdowns. That was better than Lazier Brooks. Lazier probably had like 20-something, right? Lazier Brooks stats. How many catches did you have? You probably didn't have more than 30, did you? You had Lazier.
Nailed it.
27. Yeah, 27 receptions, 362, no touchdowns. So, yeah, Vernell Brown definitely outperformed you with more receptions and more yards.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair take right there. Would I have put him maybe this all-purpose? No, Vernell Brown all-purpose made that. So, he kind of got double duty right there for the Florida Gators. Caleb Edwards.
What are we doing only picking 2 wide receivers? You got to pick 3 wide receivers, I feel like.
3 wide receivers?
Two's not enough.
Yeah.
Who's only who is only throwing 2 receivers out there?
Well, Alabama when we're in 12 personnel.
Yeah, but it's rare. It's rare.
Only one tight end, and so the personnel package looks weird.
Yeah,
two running backs.
Yeah, if we were gonna do this is the same thing with the defense, and I think I saw several people tweeting about it. Was when they do the just straight DL and they throw like 4 edge rushers on the list.
Yeah,
it's like what somebody doesn't know what they're doing. No, doesn't know what they're doing here.
So this is the coach's selection, and the reason I wanted to start with this is I wanted to pick which of these 4 has the brightest future. Which of these 4, and I mean, brightest future is a pretty vague term. Yeah. Do we determine it as like most stats, or what I would kind of say is highest NFL draft pick in 2 years, in 3 years? Yeah. And you've got I think you kind of nailed it when you were talking about Dijon Lee's positional value. I think that you look at Michael Carroll's positional value, you look at tackle and cornerback as probably your most valuable positions, and to be playing a true freshman in both of those positions, I think is pretty impressive. Now, London Simmons, you're gonna be down the list because of just the positional value of interior defensive linemen, but I do think he had a pretty nice year. And, if you
can be like a true game wrecker at that position, you'll get drafted pretty high.
Right.
It's just you have to be like that much of a difference maker.
Do we think that London Simmons just got extra shine this year because he was a true freshman and it went from Tim Keenan to basically London Simmons? And obviously you missed Jeremiah Beaman. He got hurt like basically 2 days before the season started, and he was going to be expected to be pretty solid as well. So, like, do we think we just not overrate, but maybe view London Simmons in a little better light because a true freshman playing defensive line?
I mean, that certainly goes into like why I think what he did was so impressive. But like, I don't know that really takes away from how impressive it was, because like that is the offensive line, defensive line. Those are the 2 most physically taxing positions on the field in college football, in professional football, in high school, at every level of football. And to have been playing high school football less than 9 months ago, whatever it is, or a year ago, and then step into the SEC and really, hold your own well enough to be named to a first all freshman team. That's pretty dang impressive. So like, I don't necessarily think that him just getting shine because it's such a cool story, the freshman stepping in for the senior, like that does add to it, sure, but I don't know that it necessarily takes anything away, because that is really impressive.
Right. I mean, he 3-star recruit. Basically, ever since he landed on campus, people were, wow, he's impressing. He's playing harder than everybody else. He's got really a great motor. He had 14 total tackles, 1 tackle for a loss with a sack. He recovered a fumble this year in 13 games as a true freshman. And obviously those aren't eye-popping stats, but you're playing interior defensive lineman and you're a true freshman. Like, lots of things are stacking up against you right there. I think that he was a nice B. I think he was a nice B, a solid B as a freshman. He wasn't an A+ player, but he definitely wasn't quite a C. I think somewhere between B and B+ is what I would give. Like, London Simmons was a really Dijon Lee and Michael Carroll. I think they're flirting with A's, and I think Caleb Edwards is almost flirting with an A as well.
I think just to add like a touch of context to the stat line for London Simmons. Like, I know Tim Keenan was hurt for a chunk of the year, but He only has 8 tackles this year.
Right.
So I mean, for that position, that's pretty good production, especially from a true freshman. But I'm with you. I'd give Dijon Lee gets an A+ for me this year, just because it's a true freshman playing, like I said, maybe the second hardest position on a football field. And he went against some pretty good receivers and held his own a lot of the time. I think what really impressed me with him is just the physicality that he plays with, though. Like there's zero bit of fear in his game. I think that was kind of, and I don't want to rag on Damani because Damani, he showed a little bit of that in that Georgia game. I know you got stomped 28-7, but he was playing pretty physical early in that game. And I think it has for the back half of the season when he's gotten in. But I think that was the reason that Dijon Lee overtook him, was because he wasn't afraid to get in there and play physical. And obviously the, stature there, 6 foot, you're not going to keep a guy like that off the field, a guy that lengthy, a guy that fast. So, but I'm flirting with A+ for Dijon Lee.
Yeah, I think almost an A+ as well for me, but not quite there. Just a couple of little things that I'd like to see him. Like I think he kind of had some mess ups in the Auburn game, which was late in the year. Yeah. Obviously, people looking at that first game, that first play with Squirrel White going past him, whatever. Like I don't care. It's the first. It's like your third college play ever. Like I don't really care about that. But I think that wasn't excellent in that Auburn game. But I'll tell you this. That one-handed interception off the back of the Eastern Illinois kid's head, like that was ridiculous. That was a ridiculous play. And I know it was Eastern Illinois, but it was a ridiculous play. So I would give him pretty close to an A+ as well.
I mean, you talk about where he gets drafted. I think it's very likely we could see him be a top 5 pick.
7, not 8. Yeah, that's
top 10 probably. Yeah.
Right.
In that Pat Surtain range.
Michael Carroll, 11 games, 3 starts, mostly at right tackle, a little bit of guard. I think played pretty dang well as a true freshman as well. Maybe a couple strength issues here or there, but largely, and I mean, we talk about the aggression. I'm sorry, but the aggression on this offensive line, Michael Carroll might be the most. Oh, I will finish a block. Yeah. Along the offensive line, I think Michael Carroll probably about an A-, about an A- range is kind of how I'm feeling about him.
I'm with you because again, like I understand there were some moments where he maybe had some guys get past him and things, let up some sacks or whatever, but it's a true freshman playing on the offensive line in the SEC, going against guys who will very likely be playing on Sundays a year from now or 2 years from now, whatever it is. So. I cannot be anything but impressed with what we saw from Michael Carroll this year. It gives me very high hopes for what we will see from him in the future, especially if maybe Alabama, decides to make a change with some of the coaching staff. Maybe we'll see. I don't know, but I'm excited for what we get on. What you have in Michael Carroll?
Yeah, the last one is Caleb Edwards. Caleb Edwards, 13 games, 11 receptions, 150 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, those aren't the greatest stats ever for a tight end, but they're pretty good for a freshman. Here's the most impressive thing about Caleb is that he's a summer enrollee.
Yeah,
these other guys all came early. These other guys all came. You had Chuck McDonald and Caleb Edwards coming in the summer to enroll, and like that used to be the path, but it's not really anymore. Caleb Edwards coming in the summer, picking things up, and I'm playing tight end. I came into basically walked into a room that was the Walking Wounded. You remember how they basically had Jay Lindsey as the only tight end available in the spring. And so he comes in and everybody's still recovering. And he's like, well, I'm healthy. I'm just going to start playing and did 13 games. And I thought he has gotten better with every appearance.
Yeah, I think so too. I think from the first appearance to the last, he has gotten a lot more comfortable out there. You see him. He has found a bit of the physicality I think that he needs to play that position. Now, I understand they're not using him like the same way they use Josh Cuevas to chip on every single play, basically. But I think when you see him get into blocking opportunities, it's not like at the beginning of the year, I was worried about him being a liability in the blocking game, but I don't think he really is at this point of the season. I think you can trust him to go get a block if you need him to in a situation, so you're not so reliant on your personnel play, one play to the next where you're kind of tipping what you're going to do. You can kind of do multiple things with both of those guys. So I am also encouraged by Caleb Edwards. I think he provides just a little bit extra that Josh Cuevas does not to the offense in terms of like how he can stretch the field and things.
Well, there you go. There's your Alabama all-freshman team coaches selection. The coaches selected those guys, and so I thought that that was pretty Pretty good for all four of those guys. And what do you think that do you take anything from, from the recruiting class, this is basically Coach DeBoer's first full recruiting class. You have Alabama with 1, 2, 3, 4, Tennessee with 2, 3. Tennessee had 3. Georgia ended up with 2, right? With 3. Dontrell Glover as well. Georgia with 3. Elijah Griffin, Dontrell Glover, and Chauncey Bowens. Tennessee with 3. Alabama with the most true freshmen on this list with 4.
Yeah, pretty impressive. I think you have to be pretty happy with that. I am. I think the coaching staff, obviously they go get some big time guys that, they go get the 5 stars, they go get the number, whatever rank in the state they are, they go get these highly ranked players, but they also have done a really, really good job of finding maybe more slightly under recruited guys and developing them into, I don't even know if it's necessarily developing them.
I think London Simmons is developed. We're taking you from a 3-star and we're making you a viable player right now.
Yeah. Is it? Do we think it's more them developing players or just, I don't know how I'm trying to word this, like developing or just scouting players that are under-scouted and saying,
both?
Hey, that guy's actually really good. Bring him in.
Yeah, probably both. Yeah. Probably a bit of both.
But either way, like they do a good job of it. And you've seen it in this class. Some of the guys that they've gone out and gotten in the 26 class, you look at their star rating and it's like, why are you? But then you watch their huddle tape and it's, I see why they wanted to go get this kind of player. So that's what I've been really most impressed with is their ability to kind of find these diamonds in the rough. And, the guys that may be a bit disgruntled by the others big state schools and from wherever they're from, not recruiting them. All right, come on to Alabama. We'll take you, buddy.
So let's make this a full fleshed out topic. Mason, I tweeted yesterday the Alabama all coaches selection over the last 5 years. Mm-hmm. All right, so these are the freshmen. We looked at the freshmen from this year, Coach DeBoer's first class. You lead the way. You've got 4. Tennessee 3, Georgia 3. All right, great. You've led the SEC. In 2021, the last 3 years of Saban, still pretty good. 2021, 11 all coaches selections, 6 first teamers. 2022, 12 all coaches selections, 5 first teamers. 2023, Coach Saban's final year, 11 all coaches selections, 8 first teamers. Wow. 2024, DeBoer's first season, after the transfer portal exodus of Nick Saban is leaving and which recruiting class, which guys are staying. You only lost a couple of recruits, Julian Sayin being the most notable, but you only lost a couple of recruits, but you lost a lot in the portal. 6 guys made all coaches selections, only 4 first teamers, basically half of the year before 2023. And then this past year you had 5 guys make the all coaches selection with 2 first teamers. You ended up with Caden Proctor and was it Deontay Lawson, right? As your no it was Bray Hubbard. It was Caden Proctor, Bray Hubbard, and then your others you had Ty Simpson and Deontay Lawson were second teamers, and Parker Brailsford was a third teamer. So there's your 5 all coaches selections right there. And so in the last 2 years, 6 and 5 on the all coaches selections. The 3 years before that, 11, 12, and 11. So essentially half of the top rated. And this is just the coaches picking. This isn't the AP poll. This isn't, this is who, man, that joker was really tough to defend. That joker was really tough to game plan for. Oh, that guy messed up my offensive game plan. This, that, and the other. Do you take anything from this little fall off, this little it's definitely a dip in all coach in respect from the rest of the conference?
No, and I think it's for 2 reasons. I think the first reason, well, maybe 3 reasons really. First being, we have talked about the coaches being asked to fill things out before on this show.
Sure. Okay.
I don't believe that they're doing it a lot of the time. I think they're probably passing a lot of these things off to other people, maybe assistants, maybe GAs, whatever. People that are not the head coach. I don't think a lot of head coaches are filling out these polls. So that's number one. I don't know that it's necessarily a coach's opinion going into these. It might just be some receptionist sitting at a desk somewhere that says, "Oh, I know that guy's name." 2. And I don't have any evidence to back this up, but I don't think you're going to necessarily disagree with me. I think by the end of Saban's tenure, he had garnered so much respect as a head coach that you see a player with Alabama beside their name, it's kind of like, all right, that guy's pretty good probably. Saban wanted him. I think that plays into why some of these guys were maybe picked a little more favorably. And then as well, you mentioned it, like Kalen DeBoer lost how many players that first year he stepped on campus? Like how many players? I don't remember what the exact number was, but it was
right about 20 or so.
Yeah,
2025.
You lose 20 players to the transfer portal. How many of those guys were probably going to be potentially first team All SEC that year, and maybe the year after when they were juniors or seniors? You know what I mean? Like you lose so many guys that have been developed in this system there, and then it's like, all right, we got to replace them with new people. So I don't think it's crazy at all for the first couple years here to see a decent, fairly significant drop off there, because you had to replace so much. You're bringing so many new guys, so many young guys. Now, if this continues over the next 2, 3, 4 years, then yeah, sure, we can say, all right, evident talent drop off. But I think until then, you can't really make a definitive claim one way or the other.
Okay, I think the third point that you're making is the entire point of what I'm trying to say here. And in that entire point is you still went 9-4 and you still went 10-3 with. Now, I don't think it's Coach DeBoer's fault, but you did have a talent exodus. You did have a depth exodus of, oh, crap, how many true freshman corners are we playing our first year? Like, how many true Xavier Brown? I mean, Xavier's been great, but still, we're throwing you out as a true freshman. Yeah. Oh, Jalen Mbakwe, you're getting true freshman playing time as well. There was a third. Who was the third last year? You had 3 true freshmen that got playing time at corner, and okay, great. You just had such a vacuum to fill, and this coaching staff, I think, really filled it. Now, I wasn't saying this in a condemning the program way. I was saying this I was trying to bring this up in a look at the void that they had to fill in 2024 and in 2025. I mean, people look at 24/7 and they say the talent composite, and they're like, well, they're still the most talented roster in the country. Whatever. Well, look at how much of that talent composite is made up by the class of 2025, who's true freshmen this year that were really, really good, that have 4 first team all freshman team selections, most of anyone. And like, you've still got to grow these babies. You've still got to grow these guys. And I do like you, Ty Simpson. I do like you. I do like you, Deontay Lawson, Caden Proctor, Bray Hubbard, and Parker Brailsford, all on this year's All SEC selection. But 5 and 12 are a lot different. If you had 5 more, all for Xavier, we could probably make an argument should have been on there. Yeah. Other than that, who am I really gonna argue for? I'm not arguing for any running back. I'm not real. I mean, Jeremy, maybe Jeremy. I could argue for Jeremy as a first, second, or third teamer with the All SEC selections. But other than that, I don't really think there was a whole lot of, this guy got snubbed. This guy got gypped. He got overlooked.
I think if anything, there was maybe one example of a guy who didn't quite deserve to be there.
Who's that?
Caden Proctor.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, okay. I can go that far. I mean, I think Caden's probably...
I think Caden Proctor has coasted off of being the 6'7", 360-pound guy that was so impressive as a recruit.
But he should have been on one of the first 3 teams.
I don't disagree with that.
Okay, that's
but maybe third team.
Okay,
has he looked like a first team tackle this year?
In some
short spurts,
right? Yeah, in some areas. Yeah, I agree with that. Not consistently enough.
I think there's a reason he has fallen out of being tackle 1 in this draft class at this point. Not that I even know he ever was. I think there was always a debate there for who was going to be tackle 1. But I think it's firmly not Caden Proctor right now.
Oh, here we go. We got a quote. We got a comment. Maybe they're watching the show right now. Maybe they just saw my tweet. To be fair, Jeremy Bernard, Yancey Pierre, and Xavier Brown all left off. So Yancey's a pretty good argument as well. Yeah. But there's just so many good edge rushers in the SEC. So many good edge rushers. So I do think Jeremy and Xavier probably have good cases.
Yeah, I do too.
Yancey's kind of a tweener. So
I think Yancey maybe second or third,
So maybe you could say bumped up from 5 to 8. I still think that shows and look, you look at the first team selections, the last 3 years of Saban, 6, 5, and 8. The first team, 6, 5, and 8 as like the top line guys in the SEC. You've got 2 top line guys in the SEC right now, according to the coaches or their sports information department, whoever their head of sports information is, in Bray Hubbard and Caden Proctor. So what I think is, all this. Well, this coaching staff ain't 3 losses, 4 losses. Just I understand the frustration, but when we were talking about, I think people just always wanted a seamless transition from Saban to the next coach of, hey, we're still in the national championship picture. Everything's still fine. We're still Alabama. And I think that we still should be in a small, I don't think it should extend that much further, but a small grace period window of, hey, let's get things re-shored up, re-secured, rebuild some foundation. And looking at these 2024 and 25 all selections, how many of these, did Coach Saban really leave the cupboard full for Coach DeBoer? I think there's a pretty.
I think you can make the claim that Alabama missed on a lot of recruits the last year, last few years of Saban.
The offensive line's been bad since we talked about it since 2020.
I mean, I think you just have to, especially at a place like this, in the situation he stepped into, you have to give Kalen DeBoer a chance to, at the minimum, develop the first freshman class that he brings in to their, junior, senior seasons. At least you have to give him that chance, that 3 to 4 years where it's all right, let's see what you do. You brought in a strong class. Can you develop them into elite players and do it, so on and so forth after that as well? You have to at least give him that chance. And I mean, 2024 was the first full class you bring in. Those guys are sophomores. They haven't had a chance for those guys to fully develop yet. And I understand a lot of them are playing a bunch, but they're still just sophomores.
Yeah, so I think that you still got to give this coaching staff some time. I'm very curious to see how the recruiting and developing changes with the guys that are going to Oregon State. I'm pretty not concerned, but interested to see how if things change or what happens with Aaron Hodges, right? And I think he's been pretty key to scouting some of these guys. To, hey, let me slide this guy to your desk and let me see what you think of him. So we'll see what happens, but I think that the reason that I'm bringing this up is the all freshman team. I think the talent is starting to come back, be back at that top line. And I think that you've been dealing over the last 2 years with not as top line talent. Not saying that they've been bad by any means, but you combine B+ level talent with pretty good coaching, and you end up with 9-4, and you end up with 10-3. You end up in the SEC championship game again. I'm wondering if you can raise the talent level from B+ to A- to A, and you still have really, really high level coaching. What that ends up producing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just it was never going to be a seamless transition, folks.
Yeah, so just some random thoughts from the week as they're giving out awards, and not a whole lot of Alabama play. I mean, we used to have Alabama players finalists all over the place. Finalists for the Bednarik Award, finalists for this award, finalists for that award. You saw Heisman Trophy. No Alabama player in the top 10. You saw Gunnar Stockton with the finished 7th in the Heisman Trophy voting. First time since Coach Saban's tenure that you haven't had a player in the top 10 in 2 years in a row.
Wow. I mean, who would have been? Who would it have been?
Nobody on there. I'm not voting for anybody to be the Heisman this year or last year.
Nope.
I mean, Milroe might have gotten a consideration through some of last year, but his
he went out and he declared it. Give me that Heisman.
Yeah, his fall off was so great that I thought, ooh, nope.
And there was, look, I'm not gonna act like there wasn't a brief moment throughout this season of a 3 or 4 week stretch there where it was like, oh, Ty Simpson, he could be a Heisman guy. He looks that good. But it was all a ruse.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine.
He's a master of illusions, Ty Simpson.
No, I think that
I do think there's, and I don't have any proof, but I do think there is a bit of credence to the somewhat being a little injured. I think there's a little bit of truth to that. Just the way you see him move around and things on Saturdays. I can certainly understand that he might be dealing with some slight injury, so I'll give him a little bit of grace there. But, the comment that you mentioned at the beginning of he was always a great intermediate passer. It's like, that's cool. What else did he do that was good? Not really anything else. All he did well was, all right, I can throw the ball from 8 to 12 yards. Pretty dang good. Once a defense takes that away, they took him away.
It'd be nice if he could throw the ball from 0 to 8 yards effectively.
Doesn't seem to be able to.
Right.
It's really weird.
Yes.
It is literally like 8 to 12 yards. He is chef's kiss, perfect accuracy most of the time. Now his receivers drop the ball a lot, but he's great. But he struggles. Anything past that and anything under it.
Give me that little 4-yard hitch route right underneath, right in front of his face.
He's going to put it over here. Or
right.
He's going to put it, I don't know what it is.
Daniel Hill swinging out of the backfield.
He'll put it on his back hip.
In the SEC championship, one of those third downs, you had
if you just make a good throw, he's got a first down.
Yeah, you had a perfect pick play that, it's 3rd and 5. Let me just put it right in his hands. No, it was
instead
in front of him and low and away.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm seeing it now. I remember it.
Jeremy runs a little stop route right in front of him, and basically Daniel Hill swinging around him and just out in front of him, low and away.
Even the one where he stepped out of bounds.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm misremembering it a little bit, but like if he had that one was a little behind him and he had to kind of turn for it, and then he gets hit by if you just make a good throw there, he's probably barely even getting touched by that first defender. It's just so many little things. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it is more severe injury thing than maybe we think it is. But yeah, he's just not been good anywhere except for 12 yards, and that you can't win games that way. Not when the defense is able to shut that down.
Well, he's going to go out to Norman and win. He's going out to Norman and winning.
He might.
I'm putting it into the ether.
I hope so. I hope you
into
are correct.
The ether. Just like I'm putting into the ether that I'm winning my fantasy football matchup this week, and I'm winning first place.
I'll put that out there as well. I'm gonna go back to back champion.
Yes, let's do it. Okay. Let's move on. Nobody wants to hear about our fantasy football teams. We want to talk about Alabama football. And the next thing that I've got on my list is last night's news. The 2026 schedule has been out. Woo! So I'm just going to run right through it, Mason, and then you can react. September 5, Eastern Carolina at home. September 12, at Kentucky. September 19, home against Florida State. September 26, home against South Carolina. On the road, October 3rd at Mississippi State. Home against Georgia, October 10th. On the road at Tennessee on the October 17th. At home against Texas A&M on October 24th. Finally, Halloween weekend. Happy birthday, Coach Saban. We're all taking the weekend off. November 7th, you are at LSU. You are at Vanderbilt November 14th. You're home against UTC on November 21st. And then you are home against the Auburn Tigers on November 28th.
If you go into Georgia undefeated and then can win 4 of those last, 7 games at that point? 6-7 games at that point?
Six games.
Yeah, win 4 of those last 6. I don't know who you want to pick the losses are going to be to, but I think you can afford to maybe lose 2 of those games because of how all those teams will look next year. I'd feel pretty okay about that. That is a horrendous stretch. We thought this year was tough. That makes this year looks like a cupcake. That's brutal.
I think South Carolina to A&M is disgusting. And maybe, look, throw Florida State in there because of what they did last year.
You don't have they are basically in the same situation like as they were heading into this past season again, because we have no idea what that team's going to look like. Thomas Castellanos isn't going to be there again. He petitioned for another year and got denied, right?
I think it's still up in the air, but leaning towards denied.
I think even if he gets it, I don't think he's returning to Florida State. I think he'll probably just transfer again. So you don't know what that team's going to look like. They'll probably bring in 15, 20 more transfers, and it'll be a whole new thing again.
At least it won't be week 1. We'll get to have a little bit of tape on it.
Yeah, that will help a bit.
Your first week as home against Eastern Carolina.
Good way to start the year. Get everything right. Get Austin or Keelan comfortable in that week 1. Let them get 4 or 5 touchdown passes under their belt, and we're off sailing.
On the road to Kentucky. All right, you can start 2-0, no problem.
Should be easily.
And you're not going up to Kentucky when it's going to be rear end cold, cold, because sometimes it gets that way up there.
Yeah, it'll be nice and easy. Should be.
Florida State at home. I think still the challenges are ramping up.
You've got the fans behind you in that one. That'll be a big. I mean, it'll look like Vanderbilt this year. It'll be a big. Everybody
rah.
wants their revenge against the team that wronged you last year.
Yeah, and South Carolina at home. No Lenora Sellers.
You got to feel okay. Probably. Do we think it's going to be Landon Duckworth? Is he going to win that job as a freshman?
No,
I don't know. I wouldn't think so either. I don't know who they have back behind Lenoris. I don't remember. It's been too long.
He came in a couple times, but he was not good.
So maybe it is Landon Duckworth. Who knows? But either way, I think you're feeling okay, depending on who they target in the transfer portal. Maybe.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, it might be Landon Duckworth because their backup Luke Doty is a graduate.
Okay, so
it might be true freshman Landon Duckworth.
All right. Well, then I'd say, hey, you're feeling pretty good about that.
Right. You're on the road at Mississippi State. They've been really feisty this past year.
I think Mississippi State might put it together a little bit next year. I don't think they're going to win 10 games or anything, but an 8-4 Mississippi State, I think, is very. 8-4, 9-3 Mississippi State is within reach, I think.
I feel weird saying this, but I feel better playing Mississippi State in October than I do November 21st. When it was late and they don't have anything to play for, and they're just,
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Is that where did you say that one was? It's
at State.
At Mississippi State.
At State on October 3rd. So
got to deal with the Cowbells.
You're still that's 5 in a row of. Okay, all right. At least that's 4 Power 4 games in a row now. 5th Power 4 game in a row.
Yep.
Georgia at home,
and this is where it starts. This is where your season really starts because you've got to be undefeated going into this game.
But you don't have a bye week like you did last week beforehand. But
you got to be undefeated going into this one because I think you have to. And look, I don't want to already be making excuses for Alabama to lose games, but I think it's just the reality of college football now. You got to set yourself up to where you can afford to drop a game or two here in this stretch.
Tennessee on the road. They just brought in the Penn State defense. Golly,
not a huge fan of Tennessee doing that. I think it's a great move. Not happy that Tennessee did it.
I'm with you. I think I think that's a dangerous hire for Tennessee. Jim Knowles.
I think that's right.
Jim. It is Knowles, but old Ohio State defense coordinator, Penn State defense coordinator, now at Tennessee. I think that's a very good hire for the Tennessee Volunteers. And won't their quarterback be getting a second? Won't Aguilar be sticking around?
Petitioning for it.
I think he will be around. So you're going back to Knoxville, where you haven't won in 2 different tries. You've been up there twice in whatever the right
22 and 24 was it?
Right, and you lost both of those. Texas A&M comes here.
Thankful for that. Thankful that that's going to be in Tuscaloosa.
And then you finally get an open week.
What is Texas A&M going to look like next year? Is Marcel Reed? Is he coming back? I don't even know what year he is. I'd be intrigued to see what they look like next year.
Marcel Reed looks like he is a sophomore.
Okay, so he'll be back.
Yep. So.
They'll be, I'm sure, angry after a first-round playoff exit.
You think Miami's going to get him?
I wouldn't be shocked if they did.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. Finally, an open week. And then you're at LSU, Lane Train.
Really wish that I know that it's a big, rivalry, but I really wish that bye week was before Georgia. Man, I don't think Lane puts it together in year 1 at LSU.
Both schools, LSU and Alabama, getting a bye week on the 31st. Then you're at Vanderbilt, so it's going to be our first crack against Jared Curtis.
Ooh-wee.
And I feel good about that.
I think we'll have a pretty good idea of what he is at that point, and I don't. Kind of the same thing like I just said with Lane. He's a great player. He probably won't put it all together year 1.
Yeah, I feel good about playing freshman Jared Curtis. Yeah. Then you get to smack around UTC, Chattanooga, and then you have Auburn here in Tuscaloosa with Alex Golesh.
And whatever quarterback it is going to be.
It's probably Ashton Daniels, right?
Probably going to be. It might be Byron Brown.
Doesn't Byron Brown graduate?
Apparently not.
Is he transferring to Auburn?
He has another year of eligibility.
Oh, don't say that.
So
don't say that.
I don't love that. I did not realize that this whole season until about a week ago. He's got another year of eligibility. So he could very well be the Auburn Tigers quarterback next year. However, I think if that happens, you can say bye-bye to Deuce Knight.
Yeah. Would you rather have Byron Brown or Deuce Knight?
If you're Auburn, you'd rather have Deuce Knight. But if you're me, I'll take Byron Brown 10 times out of 10. Just because of how I think the ceiling with Deuce Knight, I think we know what Byron Brown is. He's a good quarterback.
He's played in 4 years. He's listed as a senior.
Okay, I don't know. I saw it all this week. I guess maybe somebody was incorrect then.
Unless in 22 he redshirted because after he played. Let's find that stat. because he may have.
This says he has 1 year left and is weighing options for the 2026 season.
Well, he may have redshirted that first year, and that would make sense. Played 4 games in that 2022 season and took a red shirt.
I mean, he's got an interesting decision to make, in all honesty. I know that, following your head coach to Auburn seems very juicy and everybody wants that to happen and whatever, but like, it's not like USF is bringing in a bum at coach either. Brian Hartline's a heck of a coach. I might, if I was him, I might want to play for that guy.
Well, I'm pretty concerned the fact that you only have 1 bye week right here.
I hate it.
Both selfishly for myself, because I love to take that second weekend off. You've had it the last 2 years, and I know it's not SEC related. It's calendar related to Labor Day.
And I did not know that until I think you retweeted it yesterday.
Right.
I thought that the 2 bye weeks had just been a new rule implemented, and it was like, going forward, we have 2 bye weeks, and we just had it the last 2 years, and I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I did not realize it depended on the way the calendar falls.
Right. Can we just it's been all the way forward, Joe? July, August, September. Can we just unanimously agree to start on the 29th, on August 29th, the week earlier, to have 2 bye weeks?
It's preposterous to not have 2 bye weeks at this point. Like, I get that the original argument is like, well, it's a shorter season than the NFL, is it now? Barely. Like, you got a 12-team playoff. A team that wins the national championship could wind up playing 16 games, 17.
It's insane.
So I think it's ridiculous to not have 2 bye weeks built into the schedule. You need them. You just need it. Players need to be able to stay healthy and think like it's absurd. I don't know. I think it's borderline dangerous to continue to extend the season like they have, and then also not have 2 bye weeks baked in. Like, the NFL has two bye weeks. It's pretty easy.
No, they don't. No, the Bears only have 1 bye week.
Am I stupid?
Yeah, no on that. But no, the NFL only has 1 bye week as well on the 17-game season, which is nuts. But They got rid of a preseason game. If that makes you feel any better.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Damn.
But no,
you should have 2 bye
That's
weeks.
my biggest
insane.
thing that I'm looking at the schedule thinking, I don't like that. I don't really mind a 9-game SEC schedule. You're seeing a lot of people go out there. Well, we're gonna have extra losses. Greg Sankey got played by the Big Ten, and I'm like, well, who'd you really add right here? You added Mississippi State. You added Kentucky on your schedule.
Hey, Wildcats are tough.
Right. Maybe people will point and say, well, you added Texas A&M. Well, you don't have Oklahoma or Texas on this this schedule. Like, who did you really add to the schedule? Was it South Carolina? We played South Carolina 2 years in a row. We're going to get them a 3rd year. That's who you added as your 9th game. Like, not really that. But it's the attrition. It's the stacking up of the attrition. And so it's fine, I think, to add the 9th game, but all the conference commissioners have to get together and be like, well, we got to start this on whatever it's like. We don't need to be tied to Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
We need to be tied to whatever the calendar makes work to have 12-game schedule, 14 weeks, right? 14 weeks until the conference title game in week 15.
Also, just the way that this shakes, the way the schedule shakes. And I know that with Alabama specifically, like, you've got to get that LSU game in November. You've got to get the Auburn game last week of the year, and so on. Like, man, I sure would love to see those tough games spread out just a touch. You'd have to, like, can we get Vanderbilt instead of Kentucky week 1? Can we get Georgia bumped up a little bit so we don't have to play them all back to back to back to back to back? But no, you do not have that luxury with, I guess, the way the scheduling shakes out now.
Georgia, Tennessee, A&M off, LSU, Vanderbilt basically off.
We couldn't have swapped Vandy and Kentucky, and then maybe A&M and Eastern Carolina or something. I don't know.
So it's going to be pretty tough next year, but it's going to be a lot of fun, and there's going to be a lot to cover next season with the 2026 schedule.
I have a feeling it's going to be another year where people are angry about losing games.
Oh yeah, exactly. And like, that's the other part of it. You probably need to just get ready to see 10-2, to see 9-3.
It's just going to be life in the SEC, folks.
Right.
Ohio State, it goes undefeated. Well, they lost to Indiana, but like those teams are able to do it because they're not playing the same schedule as Alabama. You heard, I don't know if anyone that didn't see it, like Caleb Downs literally said it on a podcast the other day, that when you play in the Big Ten, there's only about 4 or 5 teams you really have to prepare for. And then in the SEC, it's week in, week out.
So we'll see how it unfolds next year. But first, we've got a big old playoff game against Oklahoma. Mason, before that, we have a big old basketball game against Arizona. We'll talk about Alabama's game against Arizona after reminding you the program is brought to you by Purple Turtle Roofing. At Purple Turtle Roofing, we're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certification, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claim support, and more. They'll come out, check out your roof, make sure that it's good to go, give you some ideas of any trouble spots, and give you some great recommendations. It can help you out, give you the peace of mind that you deserve. Call them at 877-787-6635. Purple Turtle Roofing. All right, tomorrow night, right there in the Beach ACC, Alabama takes on number 1 Arizona. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys have your tickets to the CM Newton Classic.
What can you get in for? Let's see.
Fairly expensive, I think.
I imagine.
Right now, no, upper level $46. Not too bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad at all. You've got lower level $191. Okay, right there on the court, $292. Okay,
all right.
But if you just want to be in the building, you can find your way into the building. It's not that crazy to get in there. Actually, Alabama, they're playing at 8:30. It'll be on ESPN. Arizona looks like I don't see a line out yet, but Arizona is a 63% chance to win according to ESPN Analytics. The Wildcats have had a pretty strong start to the season, undefeated on the year, beating Florida, beating Utah Tech, beating Northern Arizona, beating UCLA, beating UConn, beating Denver, beating Norfolk State, and most recently, last Saturday, beating the Auburn Tigers 97-68. Arizona Wildcats are 6th in KenPom. They have the number 9 offensive rating and the number 10 defensive rating. Their tempo is 36, so not the fastest, but definitely not slow by any means. 36th tempo in the country, and their strength of schedule is sitting at 54. Now, Alabama's strength of schedule is sitting at 3rd, so we played some tough competition so far this year. The Crimson Tide 13th overall in KenPom. Alabama number 2 overall in offense, number 46 overall in defensive efficiency, and Alabama's tempo is 9th in the country. So a little better offense, 2 versus 9. A little bit worse on defense, 10 versus 46, and a little bit faster, 9 versus 36. You got a pretty good Arizona team. Let me flip back over to them. You have Arizona, Copete, freshman, 6'8", really, really good player. Toby Awaka as well, senior. So you've got a freshman and a senior both in the post, really, really complementing each other very well. And of course, the name that we're all familiar with, Jaden Bradley, is over there. Senior Jaden Bradley has been over there as well. You've got Braden Burris started 8 games. So basically, their starting lineup has been pretty set this year. Kopi, Jaden Bradley, Braden Burris, Montejuvas Krivas, and Ivan Karchenkov.
That's a tough one.
Karchenkov, 6'7" freshman. So this is the problem right there when you're looking at Arizona. Montejuvas Krivas, 7'2". Ivan Karchenkov, 6'7", Kopete, 6'8", and then they're bringing They're bringing Toby Awaka off the bench at 6'8". So their post play is pretty daggum solid.
Yeah, they got some real physical guys.
Yeah, and that's going to be a really. I mean, you've seen rebounding become Alabama's Achilles heel throughout the entire season so far. Some good news: Taylor Bowen and Keaton Bristow are both expected to play in the game.
Massive.
According to John Rothstein, you are hoping to get Aiden Holloway in the game. He's game day decision. We'll hear from Nate Oates today. Any further details on him? And so that's kind of your injury front. No news on Collins Onyejaka. I don't really even think that he would be that big of a contributor in this game because of just the way this game might go. But the folks on the KenPom site say that Alabama will lose a 1-point game, 87-86.
look, if it's a 1-point game, I think you're walking away pretty okay with that loss. If I'm being honest, that's not too bad. Oh man, this is a very, very good Arizona team. I had a good friend asked me last night, like, can Alabama even win this game? Are they just going to get murdered? I was like, I don't think they're going to get killed, and I do think they can win. It's really reliant on how healthy they are going into this game, whether or not everybody is back playing at 100% or at least close to 100%. And I think a lot of it relies on the physicality that you're going to get out of Keaton Bristow and Taylor Balboa, and really anybody that's playing inside there, whether it's Aiden Sherrill, whoever you want to throw out there, whether it's Patriot League, if he gets some run tonight, who knows? It's going to be really tough. You mentioned how tall Arizona is. It's not only that they're tall, but these guys are also, a lot of them, 230 pounds, 260 pounds. Just very, very physical basketball team that I think is probably going to give Alabama some fits. If you can get the 3-ball going, if you can get the tempo up and moving a little bit, you can definitely hang in there with how explosive the Alabama offense is. But I just think they're going to struggle to get rebounds and keep Arizona off the boards. I'm pegging. I think Arizona wins the game.
Yeah, I'm going to unfortunately take Arizona as well.
I don't think it's a blowout, but I don't think Alabama loses by 1 either.
No, I just don't have any faith in the rebounding issue. And what's the other the other component? Well, maybe Alabama shoots the lights out. Maybe, sure, but what am I banking on? I'm banking on Alabama to shoot an average, an average number, and I'm banking on Arizona to rebound the ball well, slam it inside, and end up winning the game. Get more second chance points than frustrates you, but
yeah, I'm thinking like maybe a 5-7 point game, somewhere around there, like an 85-78 kind of deal, maybe.
Let's see. They've been scoring. Oh, go back to that, Joe. They've been scoring 88 points a game. Alabama averaging 95 points a game.
Maybe a little higher.
They've been averaging 42 rebounds a game. Same with Alabama, surprisingly. Alabama 42-7, Arizona 42-3. So Alabama on a 4-game win streak. Got it going.
The paper tells me you match up okay.
Yeah, I think that you're going to end up with probably about, I'll say 89. I'll say 89, 82 Arizona is kind of how I feel.
Get out rebounded by about 49 to
38.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe I hope they prove us wrong. I hope that they find that physicality that we have still been searching for this season, because it's just so frustrating, because you really do see it in like minute-long stretches here and there. You just see little bitty spurts of it from this Alabama team, but they just cannot string it together consistently for a full 40 minutes. But we'll see. We'll see what happens against Arizona. I think they do a pretty good job of playing up to their competition. When they're playing against these good teams, I think they play to a level, they kind of play above themselves a little bit. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you said right there. That I think I'm wondering what Jalil Bethea is going to look like, and to see them tomorrow at basically full health, if it does hold that Bobo and Keaton Bristow will play, if Aiden plays, I'm just really wanting to see what this team looks like at full health. So we'll see if they can be there tomorrow.
Yeah, I think they have the chance to be a Final Four caliber team if they are fully healthy.
There we go. So Mason, anything else you got going into the weekend? Army, Navy? You going Army or Navy? Navy.
I'll probably go with Army. I like their uniforms better this year. That's usually where my loyalty lies in that game, is whoever comes out with a cooler uniform. And I think Army got them this year. So.
Do you see Todd Bowles dropping all kinds of F-bombs last night?
I
did. Got to bleep and do this and bleep and do that. It's got to mean something. It's got to bleep and mean something.
Did you see Mike Evans losing it on the sideline as Atlanta lined up for that field goal? He was mad. Man, tough time to be a Bucs fan.
Yeah, when they stripped that ball from Darnell Mooney, and he's like in a pile of $5, I'm like, oh, they lost it. I'm literally texting into my group, lots of turnovers in this game tonight. Yeah. And then I look up and Atlanta's lining up on the ball, and I'm like, wait, they recovered that?
Yeah, that was crazy.
Same thing. They strip sack Kirk Cousins, and Kirk falls on the ball.
Yeah, it was wild. They're cursed this year. They've been, injury riddled all season. They finally start to get some guys back. You get Mike Evans back out there. He has a great game, but not enough to win.
Any prediction tomorrow night, John Cena's last match? I know we haven't done wrestling in ages, but
yeah, I've been so unplugged with it.
It's fine. It's no big deal. Tomorrow night, John Cena,
I might have to tune in
final
for that,
match on Peacock.
Might bring a tear to my eye.
Yeah, these jokers are so foolish. They're apparently teasing that he's going to open the show instead of close the show.
That doesn't make much sense. Yeah, I hope that does not happen. Now they're going to have AI write his final match
like
there.
Probably.
That was basically. I mean, I was, I had a stretch there of 3 or 4 months where I was watching relatively consistently. I was kind of into the whatever storylines they had going there. I was really just enjoying the introduction of Penta. But now that the newness of him has worn off a bit, I saw this AI stuff that they've been doing. I didn't really love the way they handled the whole John Cena storyline, the way they finished it out initially. So I kind of just got unplugged from it.
Yep.
But yeah, maybe I'll tune in for that. We'll see.
Final match on Peacock, Saturday night's main event. So we'll see. He's going up against Gunther. Gunther says, "I will make the man who never gives up give up." So
I'm sure that will happen in John Cena's final match.
I think he probably will, just because they're
going to send him out with a loss.
Well, that's traditional wrestling. The traditional wrestling is my retirement match. I lose.
Okay,
pass the torch on to somebody. That's kind of the way that usually happens.
I would like to see. Let's all right. We'll send John Cena out, bring him back in about 20 years when he's old, and Ric Flair, and have him go out there and win. Then that'd be fun.
All right, that's it for us today. We're going to go and talk to Nate Oates at 11 o'clock. We're going to talk to some Alabama football players at 1, and we're going to put it all right there on the Bama Central YouTube channel. We hope you and yours have a great day. Have a great weekend. Call us on the voicemail line with any thoughts you might have at 205-462-7340, extension 800. Leave us a comment on the show at Joe Gaither 6, at MAWoods _ at Bama Central. Call our friends at Derek Daniel State Farm Insurance, 205-758-3391, and schedule your free roof inspection with Purple Turtle Roofing at 877-787-6635. We missed you, Brax Garrison, this week, but I know you were out there taking care of some people. We'll try to get you back on next week, and we'll have a lot of fun continuing right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither 6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.